So I've been there. I don't know if anybody else has been there, but you should go if you're in LA.
Yeah, I still have not been there, I'm embarrassed to say.
Long time ago.
I wouldn't say make a special trip to LA for it, but if you're there, try to check it out.
I
Give Eric support.
It's already been a year that I went down there to see the West Coast premiere of the restored Robot Monster, and sorry I didn't take time. I didn't call Eric and make time to visit the 3D Space Museum while I was down there.
Well, at least he knows who you are.
So unfortunately, I already ordered Buona Devil from Kino Lorber at a higher price, including shipping, but oh well.
Well, good tip for those who haven't pre-ordered it yet.
Basically, my philosophy is better to pay a higher price than to miss out on it.
Supporting the cause.
You'll regret it forever if you don't get a copy.
It's good to keep Amazon from getting to be too powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't need everything.
So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, Jay.
Yeah. Okay. So, during that Mermaid Parade of Coney Island 3D photo contest, I put the link in. I'm seeing this as a good way to get photographers interested in 3D, even if it's converting their work. Could use some help fleshing out the pages on how to view. It's in the link. And especially if you come across mermaid pictures, to invite people to enter the contest.
And
What event is this? You're dropping in and out.
Sorry, that might. You'd see the link in the chat.
Okay.
It's a contest for pictures taken on June 22nd in Coney Island. And I've been trying to reach out to photographers on social media to enter the contest.
so this is the Coney Island 3D photo contest.
Yes.
This is a contest that was put on by the New York Stereoscopic Association.
The deadline is August 1st, so there's still lots of time for people to enter.
And the photos must have been taken at the Mermaid Parade. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, anywhere on Coney Island.
Anywhere
We
on
don't have-
Coney Island.
Yeah.
And
I'm not mentioning the Mermaid Parade specifically because we don't have an official sponsorship.
got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And after the, let's see, it looks like the finalists will be displayed at the New York Stereoscopic Association show in September 14th, just about 3 months, 3.5 months from now, 2 months from now. Okay, yeah, thank you, Jay. Be sure to spread the word. There are plenty of people who may have taken photos at Coney Island that can be converted and that can be entered. And yeah, good luck with this, Jay. I hope that this elevates stereo photography and introduces some people to the amazing new conversion tools that we have. And who knows, there might even have been some native stereo photographers out there too.
Hope so, yeah.
I mean, I took a bunch of native 3D pictures, but that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah,
the
we might do something in the future for past images. Might be worth switching to making it more open. Yeah, it's just been rough getting publicity about it, especially since it's so last minute and no official connection.
Yeah, well, I hope you make some converts. It looks like a great effort.
Can you hear me, Matt?
Hey, Jack. Yes, can hear you loud and
Hi.
clear. All right. Let's get started with our slideshow. Welcome, everyone who came in while we were talking. Thank you for joining us. The YouTube streams are live. Let me share my screen.
We're still missing Ulrich and Robert, though.
Sorry, Melinda, I didn't get that.
Ulrich and Robert have both submitted a lot of images, but haven't showed up yet.
Yeah, you're right. Bob has not shown up yet. And here he is. Melinda, you're very buzzy. You might be going through the wrong microphone again.
Oh, shoot. Well, thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, I know sometimes that happens. And
Yeah. Let me log in again.
it's not too bad. Welcome, Bob.
Hey there.
We're just going to get started here. All right. If you're following along on YouTube, there's going to be a bit of a lag. And let's get started with our first photo. Our first photo is by Steve, and the title is Scared Grave Worker.
Okay, this is another case of going to one of those Disney Club meetings, and these collectors are insane. I mean, this guy collected car stuff, and he had a really cool poster of American Graffiti signed by all the principals. But you know, this is one of the characters from the Haunted Mansion, and he's just sitting up there as a statue, and it's a cha-cha. Thought I'd make a fun picture. You get an idea of some of the rest of his collection.
Terrific subject.
Well, thanks.
Great window placement, too. I love how the lantern is coming right through that window.
Yeah, that's that's certainly what I was going for. It seemed like a good subject for that.
Yeah, well done.
Thanks. And, you know, I had a subject who was standing still, which made it easier to do the cha-cha.
Hey, incidentally, there's something that I meant to mention and I forgot to mention, and I'm actually going to go back to our title slide, not to start the whole thing over here. A recent upgrade to our meetings, our straw poll link, the way we vote on these images, is now a permanent link. It's always going to be strawpoll.com/GGSS. And you can join this link at any time before the meeting or during the meeting and select your 3 favorite, preferred, most admired stereo photos of the night's slideshow, and we'll present the results at the end. Of course, I say this every month, but I'm just trying to make this a little bit more smooth. And what I've been doing is using my smartphone to load the poll during the meetings. And that way I'm able to make my selections as I see them. Anyway, that is optional, of course. And I stress that this is not a competition, but everyone likes to know what the favorite is. With that, I'm going to move back to Steve's Scared Grave Worker. And Steve, because I made a last-minute change to the slideshow and didn't fully randomize it, you're also the next photo. And the title is Pile of Color.
Yeah, Matt, you're somewhat responsible for this picture. Um, when I was waiting to pick you up in Emeryville, I was walking around the park there and they had this statue, or this, not statue, but sculpture. And I thought it would make an interesting subject. And, with they look like colorful glue sticks or whatever, pieces of chalk. But,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
bizarre.
It's a nice abstract.
Yeah, yeah, it is kind of but three-dimensional. I mean, it's one of these cases where somebody else really did the art. I just sort of captured it in 3D.
Without the building and the background in the left eye, it's really hard to get a sense of scale of this thing. It could be a macro. It could be life size.
Could be a
That's true.
cupcake.
Yeah, you can't tell what these things are
Yeah.
or how big they are.
The separation is pretty extreme at the sides of the picture, but I like the texture in the center.
Yeah, maybe I moved a little too much. It's another cha-cha.
Yeah. This is the kind of picture, though, where you could do a fix in Photoshop by simply stretching the image out so that there's less separation at the ends. I could show you.
That's an interesting thought.
I've done that with one-point perspective compositions before. It's surprisingly effective.
That's an
All right.
idea.
Yeah, I did a good bit of that in a picture I submitted for next week.
Oh,
So we'll see how that worked out.
yeah, lots of fun. This one makes me hungry for some reason.
Giant cupcake.
Yes. Yeah, thanks, Steve. Bob, welcome. We have one by you up next. The title is Mirror Lake. Let's see. Bob isn't muted. He might have stepped away.
No, I'm here.
Here he is.
Yeah.
We're looking at Mirror Lake.
Right. I hadn't seen this projected, so I was curious to look like. I could see a window violation.
This almost works as a panorama.
Yeah, this is, I took this shot near Point Reyes and mirrored it in Stereo Photomaker. And a portrait I took of a friend kind of made her part of the mountain.
Is that fog bank a part of the original composition?
That's part of the original shot.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't touched the original other than to do some filtering a little bit on it. I did add the girl in the boat.
That's very nice. Very, very whimsical.
Thought she was
Stereo-
looking at her future.
Yeah. The foreground is all through the window.
Yeah, well, that's what I need to figure out something there. I'm wondering about perhaps cutting off the bottom a little more, making it into a full width photo.
I mean, just moving the window back, you lose a little bit on the sides, but that doesn't seem too bad.
Yeah, I'll have to play with it. This is just a start on this one.
Yeah, I think this is very promising. So we have an opportunity to really really help Bob kind of form this one. Does anyone have any other suggestions as to changes or fixes he might make?
Well, the woman in the mountain should be reflected in the water, shouldn't she?
Oh,
Yeah, she's back pretty far, but yeah, we could try that.
Just a suggestion of the form, not.
Yeah, no, I was just going to work on some of the 3D. I got to know what the composition is that I want,
Yeah.
and it's just a question of making it all work and
Yeah,
look interesting.
it could be just subtle. It could just be a shape. It wouldn't have to be the whole photo, but yeah.
Yeah. No, that would be nice, and it would tie it closer to the girl in the boat.
Yeah.
That's a good note.
the boat looks a little bit underwater.
Yeah, maybe this in front. I have to look at it. I think if you zoom in on it, it's okay. If you consider foreground, kind of, she's down below the bank.
Right.
I'm going to zoom in a little
You
bit.
know, if I try to put a reflection in the water, it is pretty far back. I think it works really well the way it is there.
Yeah, but I noticed the reflection in the water now is the top of the previous mountain before I added my friend there on top. Yeah, the back of the boat is kind of sunken into the water. I think the girl weighs too much. She's wading down.
Or maybe it's just 2D. Is that the
Well, it started
Results.
out, it was a 2D shot that I'd taken, and then I just cut and pasted in Photoshop to give it a little depth. But
yeah, maybe
obviously-
that's it. Yeah, maybe it just needs to be skewed a little bit to
yeah, and I'd probably fill out the rest of the boat. Because that back of the boat kind of looks almost like the bank.
yeah, it's
Sure.
just the back of the boat. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think just skewing it a little to make it 3D will
Yeah.
look a lot better. It's pretty minor though.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for giving us an early look at this. That's what we're here for. Thank you, Bob.
Sure.
Jack, we've got one by you next. The title is Succulent Flower.
I didn't do much traveling this last month, though. For the open, I just took some pictures of the flowers in my rock garden.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bob.
No, I was just saying beautiful color on it.
It's all real. I didn't change the color any.
No, it's just magnificent. I'm wondering if you could skew that plant in the foreground just so the bottom part of it is behind the window a little bit.
Well, I purposely made it outside the window.
Oh no, I like the bloom being outside. I'm wondering if the very base of it, just those
Oh,
3 yellow orange pieces down below, could be shifted.
yeah, that could go back a little bit.
Yeah, just a few pixels would line that bottom right up with the window,
Yeah.
and it would still come through.
And you might consider cropping the right just a hair closer to those points.
Just for the
I
those
thought about that. But I kind of like the green in there.
Mm-hmm.
Something a
It,
little
it looks
different.
like oh no, that's just ghosting. Sorry. Yeah, I find that when it comes to stuff in front of the window at the top and bottom of the frame, it's not nearly as disruptive as when it's on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Jack, I think maybe you should add some of the green that's in the left eye to the right. You've got that nice green kind of along the edge. It's almost like an emerald green. whatever is, the light is reflecting off of, you could copy and place those in the background in the right eye too. That way you'd keep
I
that
kind of
green.
thought about that.
Yeah, I agree with Matt on that because the green is nice. I agree with you, but there's just too many anomalies between the two, the left and right, with that green. But just cutting and pasting, as Matt suggested, would take care of that.
Best of both worlds.
Yep.
Yeah, Jack, you don't have to travel far to make great stereo photos. Is this a cha-cha?
Yeah, with a cell phone.
Of course.
That flower is probably about 3 millimeters across.
Incredible. How do you make these, Jack? Do you just do this do you hold the camera in your hand? Do you have a kind of a slide bar or anything to keep the vertical alignment straight?
I just
You just do that
do it by hand. You can always correct the alignment if you need to.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks great. Yeah, thanks, Jack. Okay, Melinda. We have by you Keyhole Sunset 2.
Yeah, so this was just a little while ago, right around the solstice, and this time of year we get these. You can line up the sunset with the bridge. You get these sort of dramatic rays and things, and so yeah, this one I went down there specifically to see what I could do, and took the long lens too. I've had lots of trouble getting anything good with that lens, but this time it seemed to work a little better. So yeah, this is shooting from Crissy Field. The stereo separation is probably about 15 feet.
Incredible.
And I had to copy and skew the water to get a good result. And the water, I think that added a lot.
You had to sit there and wait until the alignment of the sun was just perfect.
Well, I'm moving around a lot. You don't have to move a lot to change the way the sun peeks through. So my strategy was to take a series of images. I would move to one side until the sun is just about to disappear behind one of the pillars. Take a picture, move over, take a picture, move over. And then within I don't know, 20 feet or something, it's disappearing behind the other side of that gap. So it's you don't have to move much to change that alignment. Though I did get lucky with the vertical alignment. It's like right in the middle of that lowest window, and I like that.
Yeah, such an unusual view of the bridge also. Usually we see it both towers.
I think this is a beautiful picture, and I especially like the beams of light at the base. There's just a hint of depth in the beams of light on the bottom part. That's creating kind of like the light and shadow at the base of the bridge.
Yeah, thanks. The bottom right has a kind of like a volumetric effect.
Right.
And
I wonder if in reality, if there would be a little bit of shift on the reflection. It kind of looks, I know what you did, and you did it really well, for, skewing it because it sits in the right place. But it kind of almost looks like the reflection is painted on, like that's a piece of wood there. And I'm not sure why. I'm trying to think if, like, maybe in reality, sun reflecting on the water would be different from one eye to the other. I mean, in other words, there would be retinal rivalry in reality, which you kind of want to avoid. But I don't know if anybody else is seeing that.
Yeah, and that's true. When you look at, reflections in windows and water, there is retinal rivalry. Maybe you could just treat one image slightly different, maybe a little brighter in some areas, and give it that look.
I mean, maybe you don't want to bring attention to it either. I mean,
Yeah.
well, I'm sure it'd be a lot better if it were a proper stereo camera.
It might be possible to do the 2D conversion on the general surface of the water, but then isolate the hot spot and have that be native.
yeah, that might work.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I lost you there.
idea.
Ugh.
Well, I think this is a
Hang on.
remarkable
Can you guys
shot.
hear me at
I
all?
like the subtlety of the support cables.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah, Melinda, we can hear you. We can hear you clearly.
Yeah, sorry, I just had somebody trying to call me, and it turned off my my volume from you guys. But I think I'm back now, so I probably missed a lot of what you.
I was just remarking. I don't know if anybody can see it on a smaller screen, but on a TV, the support cables are a nice subtle touch.
I see them on the Lume Pad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it on a computer monitor, and they show up really well.
Okay.
In fact, I thought it was one of the striking things about this, that they show up. It seemed like they would get washed out by the being backlit, but this is a really nice exposure. Really.
Did you have to align this to get the vertical alignment of the cables like that?
No, I didn't do it. It was
Right.
well, actually, I probably adjusted the horizon, and that gave me the cables for free.
Okay.
I kind of like the little street lights.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, all that detail of the platforms under the span and the grid work. You can even see the fence.
so yeah, this is the right time of year if anybody wants to try it. It's just go out to Chrissy Field, close to 8 o'clock.
And
Just walk
how long a
walk along the shore.
What was that lens that you used, Melinda? That long lens? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah, I don't know the length, but yeah, you definitely want a good long lens if you have one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's how you preserved so much detail in this. We had been talking about replicating the retinal rivalry effect of the reflection in the water. Did you catch that, Melinda, or did?
Oh yeah, I
lose us
got
for
the
that?
beginning of that.
Okay.
So yeah, I would definitely love to see this shot with the a twin rig like Oleg's. I think the realism would help. I definitely had to fake it a lot.
Well, I think it still works. Yeah, thank you, Melinda. Our next photo is by Oleg, and Oleg isn't here. I'm going to mute myself for a minute and give him a quick call. He might have forgotten. So I'm going to leave this photo up, and I'll let you talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
Why don't you put on Oleg's photo so we can look at that one while you're gone?
Yeah, I can do that.
Thanks.
Yeah, of course. The title is Wildflowers at Old Barbed Wire Fence. Be right back.
So does anybody else notice that the top strand of barbed wire like perfectly matches that one ridge right behind it?
Oh yeah, it's weird.
It drove me nuts until I figured out what was going on there. And even then, it looks like there's some, I don't know if it's power cables or roadways or something. There's other lines even further back that kind of follow that line. It's very weird.
All right, well, I wasn't able to get in touch with Oleg. I wonder if his power is out. I know PG&E has some rolling power outages today. So we'll come back to this one. I'll try him in a little bit, and if we're able to get him to join us a little later, we can always go back. Otherwise, we'll hear from him next week. And with that, let's look at one of mine. The title is Waverly Place View, and yeah, this is a kind of a touristy shot at San Francisco's Chinatown. I was walking through, and yeah, I like the lanterns and the flags, the horizontals and the verticals. I wish there was something interesting going on in that sky, but that was the day I was out there.
I like the line of lanterns passing into shadow.
Well, the sky, sky's a good color, and at least it's not busy, so it makes a good anchor for the rest of the image.
Yeah, I did like the color. I didn't really adjust the saturation too much. I don't think I did much to this at all. So I'll come back to this same spot on a more interesting day when the light's a little nicer, or maybe when there's something actually going on. Bob, let's take a look at one by you. And the title is Scaredy Cat. That'll pop
My
up
political
in just a few
image.
seconds.
For the day.
Yeah.
How is it political?
Just the cat's attitude right now. It's kind of the way I feel.
Understandable. Great photo though.
Thanks. And he isn't terrified. If you look at the eyes, they're not dilated. So he's,
Fascinated.
yeah. I was trying to remember. I took this a while ago, and I imagine he was being held by somebody, but I like the constraining boundary, make him look like he's in a box.
The surprising thing is he told me he was a Trump supporter.
Yes, right.
Yeah, it's the same kind of composition of a portrait I did of Oleg, where he was pretty much smashed into the window.
Right. Well, I have to give a shout out to Topaz. Their photo AI. And this photo was slightly soft, and I've always been unhappy with that. And I ran it through it, and it really did a nice job of sharpening without significantly changing it or making it look artificial.
No, that's great. Image quality looks wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll second that. I've used Topaz. It's pretty amazing what it can do.
Yeah, the new Gigapix 7, I think it is fantastic for enlarging, and the photo AI so far has just been phenomenal. Difficult sometimes on a left-right pair in terms of treating them both equally and not getting any anomalies, but they have a lot of parameters you can fool with.
Yeah, this is filling my 5K screen, and I see, the individual strands of fur and the texture on the nose. I don't see any obvious artifacts that would suggest to me that this went through some sort of a sharpening tool.
Yeah, it's very intuitive. I didn't enlarge it. In fact, I may have shrunk it down. The original may have been larger than 1080 high.
And what camera did you use to get such a close up?
I think this might have been Macro Realist.
Oh wow, okay.
It's either that or I had a special custom Mamiya medium format camera that Coben Ekron had created, and it doesn't give as much of a 3D image, but it's just the quality of it is fantastic. But I'm not sure which camera I used for this. I'd have to go back, and unfortunately it was film, so I don't have a metadata source.
Well, for Topaz to sharpen a film scan like this is even more impressive to me because there's no hidden information in a film scan.
Well, I had already scanned the film and digitized it, so it was working from a digital image.
But it's not like a raw file where there's data that you can't see because it captures so much of the spectrum. You've really got to get it right in the camera, as you did here. And for Topaz to do such a great job sharpening that digital film scan is very impressive.
I mean, the original was not, it was not that soft, but it didn't have the sharpness I wanted. And this is just quite acceptable as far as I'm concerned. So.
Just a couple of minor things. There's some thin black borders on some of the edges that you probably didn't notice. Might want to
have to
crop those off if you have your.
I'm zooming in. Which edge are you talking about?
See, it's all the vertical edges. Yeah.
So you're talking about where the black outline meets the image.
Yeah, so the left and right edge of each eye has a black strip of varying thickness, just a few pixels.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Almost has a blue. It's like, yeah, it's like 1 pixel maybe. And go back and
It's a few, but it's pretty thin. And it's pretty, that's always pretty minor because stereograms are almost always presented on a black background, but
yeah.
you might want to know. And then I notice a little rivalry between the color of the pupil in the eye on the right. In one image it's black, and the other image it's kind of red.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that, but that could be my eyes.
So in your right eye, the pupil on the right is red.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not really seeing it. Or if it's there, it's not bothering me at all.
It's pretty minor. It just looks like some red eye.
As I look closer to it, I see, I didn't notice it at first, but I think the eyes, instead of being a perfect spherical, that you lose a little flatness in the middle of each one of the eyes. Very, very small difference, but you can see the shape of the sphere on the outer edges of the eyes.
Yeah, that'd be strange because I haven't touched the original stereo pair, so
Yeah, very, very minor, but it's
Well, this was taken from video, you said?
no, it's taken with a stereo camera. Still
Oh,
camera.
okay.
A film camera.
Yeah. Single flash, if I recall.
Got it.
Yeah, these are things we only detect after gazing at this for minutes at a time.
Mm-hmm. I think I was going for that effect you get when you put a flashlight under your chin at Halloween.
Spooky.
If I were experimenting with this, I might try to accentuate that with a little vignetting or lighting effects.
I'd like to see it with the vignetting. Yeah, it's really well done. It's really quite amazing, and it's amazing how much depth there is in such a shallow image too.
Yeah, that made me think it might have been the Mamiya camera, which doesn't have a lot. This seemed, if anything, compressed to me, but it does have a nice subtle depth to it that I like. And a lot of times with the macro realist, it just gives too much of an elongated image, which this doesn't have. So I like that.
Was the
Yeah, I encourage you to enter it elsewhere too.
Yeah, I have. In fact, I just entered in the digital showcase, I think, at the upcoming 3D Con.
Oh, let us know how it does.
I will.
Bob, was the macro realist, was that a realist attachment or was that a separate camera?
No, it was a separate camera that had attachments onto the front, depending on how much of an area you wanted to shoot. So it had basically auxiliary lenses that attached to the front of the camera, and the camera was like the Exacta. It had a double. It was a double lens close together, and I think the separation was something, I don't know, 15 millimeters, something like that. I'd have to look. I still haven't. In fact, I'm selling it, and I haven't gotten the information up online yet.
Oh, well, good luck.
Yeah. It's a great camera. I mean, the quality of the lens is incredible.
All right, well, thanks, Bob.
Sure.
Let's move to one by Steve. Invasion of the Puppets is the title.
It's probably self-explanatory. This is the same location. This collector had lots of puppets, different themes in different rooms. I'm guessing this is a overall puppet theme because there's hand puppets and marionettes. Of course, the marionette, I sort of try to position myself so the Pinocchio marionette is closer to the camera. It may be coming, I guess it's coming through the window, but I don't think you can notice that the strings are kind of breaking the frame because Pinocchio is just sitting in the center. And yet another cha-cha.
Pinocchio's in my lap in this one.
Yeah.
He's really far out.
A little too much.
A little bit.
For me.
Well, you know what they say, a lion in your lap.
I think
But he's
what they
not
said for
lying.
Guana
He's
Devil.
telling the truth, right? Otherwise, his nose would be much longer.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Sorry. Couldn't resist.
That's a perfect subject for 3D.
Yes, right.
There is a moment in the movie where his nose grows toward the camera and it's like it got a bird's nest in it.
Yeah, right.
You could probably move Pinocchio back a little bit and maybe crop a little bit off the left. In doing so, you'd lose something, but you wouldn't lose too many puppets.
Pluto's used to being excluded.
Yeah, really.
Right,
Yeah,
really.
just lose
I mean, if
Pluto.
you've got Goofy, I don't see Goofy in here, but you know.
And they
What
gave
dog?
Goofy. Yeah, they gave
What
Goofy
dog?
pants. They didn't give
Yeah.
Pluto anything.
Oh, I see. There, Goofy is on that same shelf. So yeah, one dog is enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I did crop both sides, but you're right. I think I could crop it right at Pluto's nose, and I'd still keep Alf in there.
Yeah, well, that's quite a collection.
Yes, this is only scratching the surface.
Yeah, I see a couple Godzillas in there too.
There's a little of everything in this house.
Yeah.
I kept wondering, where do they sleep? There's stuff on every bed, but I think they were, setting it up for the visitors.
All right, thanks, Steve. Let's see, what do we have next? Oh, this is one by me. This is one of the cave photos that I took in May. I showed a few last month, and I'll show a few this month. I took, I think between 40 and 50 photos underground at this trip, and I've identified the 2 or 3 that are actually worth sharing, and this is one of them. I showed the whole group at the last meeting of the Cascade Stereo Club, but I won't subject you to that. I'll just show you my favorites, and I was very happy with the way this came out. These caves are very shallow. They run parallel to the surface, and many of them have these skylights that have formed over time. And you can find very interesting shafts of light that are fleeting, and if you're there at the right time, you can get some nice photos. I was thrilled to get that shaft of light. I didn't see it at the time. I did have a UV filter on my cameras, and I think maybe that's why that light was registered. Or maybe those UV filters had a little bit of like grease on them or something and picked up the light. But I didn't add it. This is how it came out of the camera. I did, of course, align it and do a little bit of cropping.
If
Well, it's
you're wandering
definitely
around up on the surface and not paying attention to what you're doing, those holes can be pretty exciting too.
Yeah, absolutely.
definitely my favorite of your lava tube
Oh, thank
images.
you. Yeah.
It's good image quality and a very nice composition. It's the borders are all very nicely placed.
These really are amazing spaces. I just love visiting them, and of course, I'll gotta photograph them as well.
Where is this one?
This is at Lava Beds National Monument, which is in Northern California, right at the California-Oregon border, in Modoc County. And I've been up there several times. I have family in the region. It's pretty sparsely populated in this area. But I've come to this place several times over the years, expressly to photograph these lava tubes in stereo. I just think they're a great subject, and I have a lot of fun exploring this region. It's becoming more popular. I used to go for days without seeing people. Now I encounter more people in the caves and outside of the caves. On this trip, I might have mentioned this. I actually met some NASA scientists who were studying the lava tubes in anticipation of human habitats on the moon in similar lava tubes. Yeah, it's an interesting place to meet people in a pitch black cave, but they were very interested in my cameras. It was too dark to photograph them, unfortunately, but I encourage everyone to visit this place at some point. It's just a great subject.
I've only been up there a couple of times. It's a long time ago. As I recall, these caves just go on forever, long distances you can walk through them, right?
Some of them do, yeah. The ones that have been developed, the ones with paths and the ones that have been mapped, they don't go too deep. They're not the kind of caves that you would get lost in necessarily. But some of them are not developed, and I don't know if they're all mapped. This whole region is covered with them.
Well, lava tubes are pretty one-dimensional. They don't really branch off or anything.
Yeah, they're not like other caves. Yeah, there may be chambers, but they do tend to reconnect to a main branch, or sometimes lava tubes that were close together over time because of cave-ins or other seismic activity might open up passageways. I have some photos of those circumstances, but they're not really like mazes. It's it's hard to get lost. Yeah, if you just keep
Right.
going straight, eventually you'll get to the opening.
Yeah, it should be interesting on the moon too, because because of the 1/6 gravity, the tubes are much less likely to collapse. So you'll get
Yeah,
a lot larger, um, not larger caverns, a lot more living
interesting.
space.
The NASA scientists that I encountered were examining the tubes for cracks and fissures and evidence of instability. I think they were kind of learning how to do that on Earth, so that they could train future astronauts to do the same on the moon.
Well, they're going to want to seal up all the cracks so they can pressurize them.
Yeah, I think they're just want to make sure that it's going to be stable. And yeah, they would definitely make it habitable with a floor and walls and ceilings and all that.
It looks like over the years they've kind of moved the rocks to the side and kind of made it a more usable trail through there. Is that true?
In this one, it is, yeah. And these tubes have been explored and even inhabited for, tens of thousands of years, because there were indigenous peoples who lived here, before the settlers kicked them out and moved in. So these aren't pristine caves by any means. And in this one, yes, the rocks have been moved around to make a path. That's not the case for all of them, but maybe a dozen or so have been developed in this way. You can still find petroglyphs and other evidence of ancient habitation, but yeah, these are not their original state by any means. And yeah, I wear boots, helmet, knee pads, gloves, and I'm always amazed to encounter people walking through in flip-flops and shorts and, tank tops. Next month I'll show a photo. And these caves are cold, too. Anyway, thank you. Yeah, this one is probably my favorite from that trip. But I don't want to dominate this meeting. Let's look at a Coney Island. I think this is the Mermaid Parade. This is by Jay, and the title is Holding a Snake.
Yeah. Shot with a W3 and an off-camera flash. And I think this was right after it was raining pretty hard. So the parade, usually I get some great shots at sunset, and there's just like nobody around. It rained at like 5 p.m. So lots of people left. I actually got halfway to Manhattan, saw the rain had stopped, turned around and came back.
So this is after you left? You came back?
Actually, this is when I came back.
Wow.
Yeah, took a few shots of her. This was the best one. I think big part was that passerby reaching out.
Yeah, I think that really makes this shot.
Must be a pretty tame snake. How far does she have to walk with that around her neck?
I don't think that's her snake. The guy that's right behind her, I think that's the one person with the snake. Yeah.
There's definitely some humor in this one with the woman kind of instinctively, I would guess, reaching out to pet the snake. Maybe not a great idea.
That's pretty tame.
Now, Jay, you said you
Probably
used,
quite a pizza act for it.
and you said you used the flash on your W3.
Off camera. So I had it triggering not my biggest flash that for some reason died. But don't have it here. Yeah, just the optical trigger.
Right. That's you had
Yeah.
shown us you're using I think
Fiber optic.
fiber optic cable so that the W3 flash, and I think you have that masked, right?
Yeah. The W3 flash is totally just taped off with duct tape.
Right.
And that goes to the optical sensor of the off-camera flash.
Are you holding the off-camera flash, or do you have it mounted to the W3?
I have a bracket.
A bracket.
So it's like the W3 is here and the flash is up about here.
Got it.
Yeah.
I really like the balance in this photo where the snake is in the 2/3 on the right side, and with the woman that's looking at it with her hand there, and looks like another woman maybe hurrying up to get a better look at it, and the way everything is in this and balanced just perfect is I really like.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, and I always try getting the background of, the rides and signs. I just don't see what's the point of shooting without having the environment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, technically, I'm really impressed with that external flash too. Using it as a fill flash like this really brings out the detail in her face. You could have done that with, shadow highlights, but flash photography is something that we're kind of losing. I think I might have mentioned my Sony RX2Os. They're incompatible with flashes. It's impossible to connect a flash to either of those cameras. And there are creative techniques that you can achieve with a flash that you just can't any other way. So I'm very impressed.
We would like to try some really slow shutter with the flash, making it sort of like the cut out image.
Yeah, you get a real dynamism using that technique. All right, very nice. Jay, will you be entering this in the Coney Island 3D photo contest?
Legally, I'm not allowed.
What? Oh.
Well, I'm winning the contest, so.
Yes. And that does remind me, for those who are or will be participating in our straw poll, please don't vote for your own photo. Of course, we all like our own photos, but what we really want to know is what you think of everyone else's photos. Thank you, Jay. Our next one is by Bob. And the title is Remote Island Cactus.
It's remote remote island cactus.
Remote Island.
dear.
It's not a
The first word is very important.
it's not it's a remote island cactus, yes.
And you can see all the remotes right there.
I
You could have saved this for the special competition.
I think I did enter it, or I think I had too many humorous ones, so I just put it in here. This is actually a sculpture made by my friend M.K. Brown
Oh,
out of remotes she was going to throw away.
so she's more than just a cartoonist.
Oh, yeah, much, much more. Fantastic painter, among other things.
Bob, so much of your work has a sense of humor. I think you're going to dominate next week's humor special subject.
Oh, that's next week. Okay, I thought it was this week. That's why I put some of these in. But
Well, this is a warm-up, we'll say.
yeah, okay.
All right, well, thank you, Bob.
Sure, my pleasure.
Jack, here's one by you. The title is Garden Flower.
This was kind of interesting. I got a little bit too close up, but I like the extreme stereo we get with it. This flower was just a ground cover sort of thing, and that flower, I would say it was between, the whole thing was probably 2 to 3 millimeters across, and anyway, it was fun to play with. I shouldn't have had it. I should have not just spread out the left to right that much.
How big is the flower?
Well, the flower, I'm talking about the whole thing, the red center and the white stuff, all of that is probably about maybe 3 millimeters across. Really tiny thing. The individual white flowers are way less than a millimeter.
Right. So you'd have to have a really small separation.
Yeah.
Or a tilt board. Do you still shoot stuff on a tilt board?
I'm sorry?
I remember you used to shoot some of your tiniest subjects on a tilt board to get parallax.
No, I brought it inside and I didn't mount it, so it was kind of just sitting there in front of a black background.
Barry used to do that.
Oh, that was it. That was it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a technique worth experimenting with. Certainly easy to set up a rig, a little tilt rig like that. I recall one of a coin that he shot using that technique. So the camera is stationary.
And the subject pivots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do quite a bit of stuff like that and had all sorts of mechanical, especially for the close-up stuff.
It's amazing to me that you're able to capture this detail with you used your smartphone for this?
Yeah.
I mean, you used to use a microscope for this kind of thing.
Yeah. Back when I did all the close-up of light and
Right, yeah.
I heard that people are taking extreme close-ups by putting a drop of water on their cell phone lens.
Oh yeah.
That's ingenious. I haven't heard of that.
I saw one image recently. It was pretty impressive.
I'll have to give that a try.
Might be able to get the same thing with some of your costume jewelry, some half glass beads or something.
If you saw this flower in real life, you just see a little insignificant white blob down there.
Mm. Gotta get in there.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Yeah, it's a bit extreme, but generally successful, and the window placement is pretty nice too. Thank you, Jack, and welcome, Oleg. Do we have you with us?
Yes, I got involved in a project and lost track of time.
I tried to call you. I might not have your most recent number, so maybe I'll get that from you after the meeting, but I'm glad you made it. And in fact, we have a photo by you up next, if you're ready for us.
Sure.
We also looked at one earlier that we'll go back to, but this one is the second one of yours that's on our slideshow for the evening, and the title is Hanger Protrusion Suggests a Window.
And probably the other one that you saw actually did have a window. This was in the same it's at an airport, and this was a similar situation, except the window isn't closed, but the idea is that you start looking at the left side, and then the right side catches your eye and you realize it's another window mentally. I don't know if it works. It works for me.
Yeah, it works. It's a nice effect. It doesn't really take much to suggest a composition.
I also changed the tints of the doors so they matched the tint of the roofs of the buildings on the right.
Yeah, thank you, Oleg. And again, I see you're kind of splitting the composition down the middle as well.
Well, it's almost more and a third in this particular picture.
Oh, very nice. Thank you, Oleg. Bob, we've got one by you coming up next. Baby Boa Tongue.
Yeah, this was definitely shot with the macro realist.
Love the depth in the eyes.
Yeah, you can see deeply into it. It's very cool.
Yeah, I was curious how this would look to other people. I've just seen it screen here, and I did run this through the Topaz Photo AI for sharpening, and again, I think it did a great job. But I also did a lot of cleanup in Photoshop because this was originally a scanned film slide that I didn't bother to clean thoroughly before scanning it, so there were like dozens of small little specks all over it. I was mostly concerned with how the tongue read, particularly the fork on the right there, if there was going to be any ghosting, because on my TV I get quite a bit.
I'm getting a little.
Yeah, I mean, I considered maybe trying to adjust it in Photoshop to make it less that way, but you know, it's looking okay here. And well, on the Lume Pad, it's ghosting quite a bit.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be an issue with the the contrast of the light tongue and the dark background. For what it's worth, there's no ghosting on the anaglyph.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And
well, we'll see.
Love your positioning with respect to the surface of the screen.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I think about the only thing you can do is like put a colored background, a lighter background.
Yeah, I thought about actually putting in some kind of a green jungly background. I may still try it, but the other thing would be to fool with the tongue a little bit, cut it and skew it a little bit to see if that helps.
Yeah, some out of focus shapes, but it would give you a little bit more depth.
Yeah.
I think it's perfect with a black background like this.
Yeah, I like the starkness of it, but you know, as you mentioned, it is problematic in terms of ghosting when you have that much of a contrast.
I mean, of course, it doesn't ghost with these things, these mirror glasses.
There's some kind of
preview it here.
There's some kind of reflection or something that looks like scratches at the top of the eye in one.
Let's see,
in
very
the right eye.
In the right eye, scratches. So I'm zooming in.
In the left eye, I'm seeing some speckles.
In the in your right eye.
In my right eye. Okay. So
right
side image, you're saying?
Oh, at the top of the frame in the darkness. Yeah, I'm seeing some speckles in the right eye.
There, I can see the bright white reflection of the light just above there. In one eye, there's scratches, but not in the other.
Yeah, probably just some artifacts from the slide, dust or scratches.
I'll have to pull it into Photoshop and give it a look at 600, 700%.
Yeah, it's pretty minor, but the eye is so spectacular. It's
thanks.
It's worth it.
Yeah, the sharpness is really effective too. Free viewing, of course, no ghosting.
Yeah.
And what timing you had to capture that that extended tongue.
I took a lot of shots.
I bet. That is fast motion. Must have been under a very bright light too.
Well, again, it's just a flash, and I think it's just a single, possibly a little fill, but I don't think so. Judging from the reflection in the eye, I think it was just a single.
Got it. Very impressive.
Thanks.
And whose snake is this?
It was someone. I went to a show at the Santa Clara Fairgrounds, I believe, and they had all sorts of amphibians and reptiles, and people were very nice. I would send them photos of it and give them red blue glasses. And this boa was the perfect color for anaglyphs. So.
Very
yeah,
nice.
really, in our half color anaglyph, it doesn't lose much.
Yeah, I haven't tried an anaglyph of it yet,
mean,
but
I don't
except the one.
recommend it,
Yeah.
but you know, it does work.
It might be interesting to take all the reflection out of the eye, the two pieces there. It would be fairly easy to do just by hand. I don't know if it'd be better than not.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Maybe cutting down slightly, but it is pretty striking. But I like the way it kind of adds a little bit
Yeah.
of depth. I'm afraid it might just be too flat if I took it out completely.
Yeah, you might be right.
But as you say, easy to do and check it out. But it doesn't bother me that much. It is a little bright and a little larger than I'd like it. Maybe I could just shrink down the reflection a bit. That might help because I do like that catch light.
Very nice. Thank you, Bob.
Sure.
Oleg, you joined us at just the right time. We've got another one of yours being shown now. This is Father Photographs Son at Zoo Lights.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody noticed that there is somebody in the center of the wings there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little kid. And
Good photo up.
on the right side, there's a lady that's has a stroller, and she didn't realize I was using wide angle lens, and she didn't know she was in my picture. I left her there anyway.
Yeah, she's part of the family.
Have you considered cropping it and maybe just
No,
family, the three main characters there?
no, the cropping. I like the way the photographer's near the center.
Mhm.
Crop it, he's out of the way.
Yeah.
It'll take a couple of hours, but I can get rid of that lady.
Actually, you can try some generative fill. I think Photoshop offers several other programs that does an amazing job. You just select her, hit generative fill, and she's gone.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'm using Photoshop Elements, so it doesn't have that feature.
Oleg, would you consider cropping some off the left, where it's
Sure.
mostly
Um,
black?
I'll make another pitch for Affinity. It has something similar to generative fill at a much lower cost than Photoshop.
Yeah, maybe it's time for me to switch.
Yeah, I mean, how old is that version of Photoshop? That's a pretty stripped down Photoshop, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right. I think it's the 8th one.
I mean, I'd be happy to do some quick tutorial if people are interested.
Oh, be careful, Steve. You know what's going to happen next.
Mhm.
I'm going to rope you into a workshop.
That's not like I haven't done it before.
It might be too late. We'll be talking about this.
All right.
Actually, I think that would be really useful for me as well. I've been on Photoshop for 25 years now, something like that. I'm not really even aware what else is out there.
Well, you keep up to date though. You have the latest version.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, Affinity can possibly keep up with Photoshop for those people that are willing to pay a fee every month. But I like the fact that Affinity is a one-time payment.
And what I'm finding with Photoshop is that as it evolves, it's kind of less and less of a photo editing app and more of an AI generative app. Of course, it still does everything I've always used it for, but those
It's more
certainly
geared
have the
toward it's
features
more
that they're
geared towards
promoting.
photo albums now than creative work.
Yeah. Oleg,
Yeah.
may I experiment with this photo by cropping it? And I ask because I also set up a new crop command on my control panel here, and I would like to see if it works. Let me give this a try real quick.
Sure.
Not permanently, of course, but if I push this button... Oh, we lost Melinda. Here she comes.
I would like to see what would happen if you take the woman out and moved him closer to the window to eliminate some of that ghosting back there.
Okay, well, I can definitely... Well, that's going to be kind of a square... Yeah, that's a little unbalanced. Let's see, and can I don't think I can adjust him. Let me try this on the other two. All right, this kind of works. There we go. And okay, for those who are following along on YouTube, you should see this crop happen. Okay, I don't think the crop is successful, but the tool works, so thank you, Oleg, for letting me experiment with that. What do you guys think?
I think that it might work to shift the color of that white cloud installation so it's not as much of a hot spot. Maybe make it blue or something.
I didn't understand where exactly you're talking about.
The white cloud to the right of the frame, it's very bright.
Oh, yeah.
Distracts from the wings.
Yeah.
It could be a different color.
Yeah, or just made a shade of gray.
Or darker, yeah.
Or you could take the left side of the picture and flip it and paste it on the right side to sort of quickly add symmetry and also make it dark as well.
I'm going to try something else.
And flip it perhaps horizontally.
I don't mind the woman, and I like that there's a lot of depth behind that white cloud sculpture illuminated thing. And I would suggest just cropping off the left. Well, that's a little too tight, but something
But
like
it's
that.
good. It's good to have the stroller as a foreground element.
Yeah, I agree. I like that. And, the mom, she's busy with the baby. I think that's part of the story here. And then to the right, there's a lot of depth. All of these lit objects. So I would want to keep that as well. That's my opinion.
Yeah, well, I definitely get rid of the cloud, make it darker.
Hmm.
I should have done that, thought of that.
Well, thank you, Oleg, for indulging me. I really wanted to try this new tool that I set up also, and this photo was the test subject, so thanks for putting up with that.
Yeah, well, do that anytime.
All right. I've also got a button to auto align, and I can turn the grid on and off. All right, enough of that. Thank you, Oleg. I've had my fun. Actually, not yet, because this is one of my photos. I'll turn the grid off here. This is the landscape at the Lava Beds National Monument. This is on a hike I took at Captain Jack's Stronghold, which has a lot of history. Not the best time of day, not the most interesting sky, but here I was. I do think this landscape reads very well in 3D, and just, close an eye and look at it in 2D to see how much you miss without it.
It really requires 3D. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
great exposure too. You just need a
You're
some kind of
really
scale.
booming. You're really close to the mic.
Oh,
really booming.
sorry. Here. How's this? Any better?
Little more.
It's probably the wrong microphone again.
Yeah.
I had to do
Once
that.
again.
Relag it again. Sorry about that. I'll do it again.
Jack, you can see there's...
Definitely look like rattlesnake country.
Yeah. And Jack, as you can see, there's plenty of lichen on these rocks. I could see you climbing all over these things and making some scrapings for some micro stereo photography.
Yep.
And that is Mount Shasta in the center background.
I'd be tempted to simply enlarge it because I thought there was some kind of cloud.
Enlarge it? You mean...
Enlarge Mount Shasta?
Oh,
Yes.
enlarge Mount Shasta. I could do that. In fact, I did that on a similar photo where that isn't as interesting as this one, where I caught the daytime moon, and I scaled that up about 1,000% so that it was a more prominent feature. Yeah, I will scale up Mount Shasta there. Hey, Melinda. Oh, I think she's still getting her audio situated.
Okay,
There
I'm
you
back.
That's
Yeah.
much
Better?
better. Much
Thanks.
better.
Much better.
I don't know how to make this stick. Looks like I'm gonna have to set it every time. Sorry about that.
What were you going to say?
Oh, about the image?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, it just seems to need some sense of scale. That's the only thing that's missing.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I can kind of figure it out.
A person is in all this.
definitely would be improved with a person a subject for scale. And actually, when I view other people's photography of these tubes in this region, a lot of people will put in something for scale, you know, a hat or a helmet or something, just to get a sense of what the scale really is, because of course stereo can lie. And in this case, I actually do have the cameras spaced for natural vision, about 65 millimeters or so. So this isn't hyper, and it's not misleading in that way, but of course, without any other object to give it that sense of scale, you kind of have to take my word for it. So that's actually something I've considered. This was the first trip I took where I actually could get natural stereo in a synchronized rig, but obviously it's not enough. It still needs something to give us an idea of how big these structures really are. So I'll go back. All right, thank you all. Let's enjoy one by Jay. Tall Structures is the title. Jay, what is the structure that you're referring to?
Cows who jump, roller coaster, and her hair.
Aha, got it.
Straight W3 shot. No crash. This was at the beginning of the parade. Yep, just a off the cuff shot.
Yeah, very nice.
I love the guy drinking the beer, and then the guy in the lobster suit next to him drinking the beer.
Dr. Zoidberg, I presume.
Maybe so, yeah.
Yeah, like this, I think I have a good amount of objects at different depths.
Yeah. Now, for me, I really noticed the difference with and without the flash. And we can see that her face is shaded. It's a little darker, and that's just, you know, the shade cast by her hair. I'm guessing the sun is pretty high up in the sky, and that's exactly what you want a daytime flash for. And in that, what was the title of that one? Holding a Snake by Jay. The subject's face was beautifully illuminated, highly detailed. Here we lose a little bit of that. Certainly could bring it up in shadow highlights, but it's not exactly the same. So just a technical difference that I notice.
Yeah, I had my camera pole with me, so I couldn't use both the pole and flash at the same time. Just too much to juggle.
Sure.
Maybe it's the Northern Californian in me, but overcast holidays are the norm for me. So that this looks very natural.
Overcast summer holidays, but not in shorts and tank tops.
No. Although people will try.
Yeah. Yeah, Jay, I think
They
maybe you
like
should.
the way the people are in planes. You know, each one is a setback in space. It's perfect for a 3D photo.
Yeah, Yeah, didn't take as many pictures as I usually do, but happy I got a few good ones.
I like how the lobster guy's costume creates a nice silhouette for the woman in the foreground. Really get to see the detail in her costume.
Yeah, the W3 gives fantastic depth for exactly this kind of shot. I'm looking at eBay right now. You know, I wore my W3 out and I miss it. And I'm seeing a lot of previously used ones for less than $300. I don't know, buying a secondhand camera is always a risky proposition. Maybe it's time to buy a, well, here's one that says it's mint for $400. Anyway, I'm just speculating here. Maybe it's time I bought myself a W3 replacement because I love these photos. Thank you, Jay. I strongly suggest, Jay, that you enter these into the Coney Island 3D photo contest under a false name. And then, you know, when you win, just, I don't know, send somebody else to collect your prize.
You could just give them to me. I was there. It was 2 years ago, but at least I've been there.
Yeah, you can be the stand-in and accept all the accolades.
I'll be the front.
All right, thank you, Jay. Melinda, here's one by you. Seagull from Above.
Yeah, so this is the marina in my neighborhood, and I was just out there and saw the seagull standing on the low wall there, and then I saw a dog walker coming up from the right, and I could tell the dog was gonna scare the seagull, so I positioned myself to catch it as it went by, and had no control about where it was in its flapping cycle or anything, so it looks kind of headless, but it framed itself nicely in the against the water, and with the backlight coming through the feathers. I like the moment a lot. Didn't have to do much to it, just cropped, and I think I boosted the saturation a little bit to get the water to look nice like that.
Oh,
You got to be quick to get the positioning just like that.
I mean, I took the shot when the bird was in the right place, but I couldn't pay attention to what it was doing at that moment. I got one shot, so yeah, I got pretty lucky. I didn't really want a headless version, but it's kind of nice too.
What camera were you using?
Hydrogen one.
Does it have a burst mode at all?
It does. I
keep
haven't
getting
used
to use
it.
mine. Yeah, I mean that's when I do remember to use it, it's always great because most of the phones nowadays have pretty quick burst modes, and then you might luck out.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you for the reminder. I really need to start doing that. Yeah,
I've been doing a lot of my cha-chas as short videos and then selecting frames that have the right spread.
Yeah.
I kind of can't bring myself to do that because of the loss of resolution, but it does make sense. And if you're filling the frame pretty well, it's probably just fine.
Just have to remember to be making your sideways move while it's recording.
Topaz can bring back that resolution too.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I should do the burst thing though. I need to fool with that. It was a while before I figured out that it was even possible. So I just I never really tried it.
I think doing the burst while you're doing a cha-cha would give you a lot of options.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I
Yeah,
mentioned.
for something that's moving fast, that's true.
Plenty of depth in this one. Yeah, you
It's
got-
actually not a lot. It's a cropping in really helped. Ideally, I would have been at the distance that this appears to be, but it's more like 10 feet away instead of 4 feet or something. It's enough though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how the stonework at the bottom boxes it in.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great that the water sort of frames the bird. The bird isn't intersecting with any of the docks or boats or anything in either eye.
Yeah, that was just pure luck.
Very nice.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Melinda. Now we have. Oh.
Did we want to skip back to the Oleg shot that he missed?
We will. We've got 8 or 9 more to go. We're not done yet. I only mention this because we'll run later than 9 o'clock tonight, and that's fine by me. I don't want to rush through these, and I just want to make sure that everyone here is okay with that. I understand that some of us are on the East Coast, and it might be getting late. So if you can't stick around, I certainly understand and appreciate you coming by. And if you can stick around a little bit after 9, please do, because we've got some great photos ahead. And that said, let's take a look at one by Jack. And the title is Tiny Flowers.
Well, these are very small flowers. They're little, each individual flowers, again, about 1 millimeter. And you kind of just see it as a white flock out in the wild. And I was able to obtain this one that's been growing in my garden for quite a few years now. There's a little bit of a breeze, and I wasn't able to catch somewhere a little bit of motion. So this isn't really a spectacular picture, but I thought it was kind of interesting.
And the separation's really comfortable here.
You like it, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Good separation and good window placement.
Mhm.
You've got, looks like the foreground blossoms are a little out of focus.
Yeah, some of them were.
Of course, in stereo, it's somewhat mitigated. Looking at this on my Lume Pad, it's really not bad.
Not something I'd enter in international competition, but it's kind of fun.
Oh, it's nice. It looks like there's a bit of a some overlap in the right image. You'd probably want to crop out. It's probably about 20 pixels or so.
Oh, I see it, yeah.
Easy fix.
Yeah.
So, Jack, how far did you have to travel to get your photo group in for this week?
All my pictures actually, maybe 20 feet.
All right. Well, this has been a very varied group. It's amazing what you can find literally in your own backyard.
There's a lot, much more varied plants than that.
Well, you've got that whole rock garden that I don't think I mean, you haven't fully explored that in 3D. So I look forward to seeing
quite a few pictures in it, but I could probably take 30 or 40 pictures of that.
Yeah, you've got a lot of angles on that work of art.
But it's fun to just sit there and watch it. And one eye I get to watch that, and the other eye I get to see ships going up and down the bay.
Sounds nice.
I'm thinking that the backyard would be a good special subject.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that idea. Let me write that down. That's much more. I'm much more inspired by that idea than some of the specials we've had this year. So I'll make a note of that. Great idea. All right, thank you, Jack.
Would backyard pictures special, would that include the boats going up and down the bay?
Since it's from your backyard, I would think that would be valid. Yeah.
Have to think about that.
Of course, they're pretty far away. You'd need quite a wide base to get those in stereo. But yeah, we'd all love to enjoy your view of San Pablo Bay. All right. Jay, here's another Coney Island stereo, and Nathan's Fan is the title.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's a Nathan's Fan based on the color. And yeah, I could use a bit more background exposure. Just wasn't enough time to fine tune it. Again, off camera flash. And yeah, surprised the lights weren't on in the background. I think it was just a bit too early.
Yeah, it looks like some are on, but the attractions aren't illuminated.
I think this is just after the rainstorm.
Well, again, great use of that external flash. And of course, if you wanted to brighten up the background, you could, but
I played with the curves a bit, and brightening the background too much was getting some weird grayish contrast. So, not sure how much it can be pushed.
yeah, well, this is what the camera saw. Yeah, it's uncanny how closely he matches Nathan's. I might adjust the color of his lipstick to match the green of the Nathan sign. Maybe it does match. It's just, you know.
Oh,
I thought it matched really well. I was going to comment that it looked like he'd been eating a lot of Nathan's, judging from the color.
Maybe he's turning into a Nathan's hot dog.
Right.
And nice, you've got him right at the window too.
yeah, I adjusted that.
Well, Jay, even if you can't enter these in the 3D Coney Island 3D photo contest, will you at least be sharing these with the New York Stereoscopic Association?
Yeah, if it's we doing galleries and things.
Yeah. These deserve to be shared. All right, next is one by me. Another shot, I was kind of playing tourist, and this is Bay and Taylor cable car stop. It's kind of busy. I took a few shots when I walked by here, and the shot that worked happened when this cable car operator came out to explain to these tourists that they were going to have to wait a little longer, because then everyone's attention was focused on him. The other photos I took, everyone was doing their own thing or having a conversation with someone else. So the attention was not on the subject. And I also realized that I probably could have entered this in last month's symmetry competition because of the way the tracks kind of extend from where I was to the cable car. Everything's kind of in the middle there. I don't know. And yeah, that's all I got to say about it. Thank you.
We're doing that at a timer.
I think there might be a color shift. No, I think it's okay. All right, let's take a look at one by Oleg. And Oleg, we have one following this one that we'll go back to at the end of our slideshow. This is Hangar provides a secondary window.
Yeah, that's the way the first picture that we looked at. I just like the extra. This is pictures divided into thirds horizontally. And there's a different story in each part of it.
I like the way this leads the eye. You follow the gray wall, you go through the window, you pick up the path, and the path hooks back.
I was disappointed. It was June gloom when I visited my brother last time, but this airport had lots of things to shoot despite the grayness.
Mm.
Yeah, thank you, Oleg. Melinda, here's one by you. Cherry Trees is the title.
Yeah, so these actually I don't know if they're cherries or plums, but they're in bloom now at the Industrial Light and Magic campus, and very lovely. And so I grabbed this cha-cha of a guy framed behind the trees, and yeah, I think it made a nice composition, interesting lighting. I had to increase the saturation quite a bit of the trees to get those lovely plum colors. But I think I also I was careful not to boost the grass nearly as much, but I think I accidentally did. So the green is a little too intense, but otherwise I think it's fine.
I like it. I like how the dark shadows in the background frame the figure.
So I guess the theme of the month for me is putting the subject in the center of all my images.
Mhm.
Having the subject rest in those blues to contrast with the greens really helps separate it too. Yeah, I like this one quite a bit. I like looking through the trees, going through these kind of natural archways, finding this photographer, and then even looking behind the photographer. A lot to explore here.
It's very busy, but it makes sense in 3D.
One thing I usually do in a situation like that, the photographer is there's too much behind the photographer. So I'd select that bit of background and darken it.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. So compositionally, you leave it there, but turn it down so it doesn't distract.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, like in one of the eyes, there's a palm tree is right behind his hands, which I think is helpful. But in the other one, it's a little more busy. But yeah, that's a good idea. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Melinda.
Thank you.
Jay, I think this is the last Coney Island photo we have from you for the evening. The title is Green Feathers.
Yeah. Again, without flash, early in the day. And I think next week I'll show similar scene, but with the ball. And yeah, just a off the cuff shot.
Looks like she has a tattoo that says, "For a minute there, I loved you."
No, I never read it.
Hi. Wow, I'm impressed you can read that.
Could be wrong.
Good catch.
For a minute there, I think you're right. Part of it is obscured by it looks like her armband.
Yeah, that's what it is, all right.
Well, she's a great subject. Is she talking on a phone? I think that's what's happening. Or
That's
Okay.
that's the speakerphone pose.
Hmm. It looks like you got some direct sunlight peeking through for this one.
Yeah. Yeah, sun was at my back.
yeah, no fill flash needed here. You said this was before the parade,
Oh no, it was near the beginning.
right at the beginning. Okay. Great that you got
Yeah.
that row of flagpoles in the background. Also, it's a nice leading line from the storefronts. Yeah, thank you, Jay. I hope someday I can photograph this event myself. And we have one more photo of the evening. Actually, that's not true. We'll go back. We have one more from Oleg after this. Tonight's next to last photo is by Melinda, and the title is Critter.
Yeah, so I put this at the end because it's not really a stereo submission, but more of just an announcement that a critter has died.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm very sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was really tough. I mean, I knew it would be tough, but I still way underestimated. She was 18. She was healthy the whole time up until like the last year or something, and then and then over that last year we got very close. She became a lap cat, as you can see now. She was never a lap cat before, but she decided that she really liked that all of a sudden, and then started to demand it all the time, and that was fine with me. And yeah, she was very sweet, but then started deteriorating, more and more things going wrong, faster and faster, going deaf, going blind, and finally not really able to walk. That was kind of the end. I think she wasn't eating either these last few days. So I had her put down, and I was very fortunate to find that the local SPCA, which is actually where I adopted her through, has a hospital, and they're very very, very nice folks, and sort of shopping around for vets and euthanasia services and stuff. It was things have changed a lot. The pet industry is very much like human healthcare and funeral industry now, and it's very frustrating to navigate. But then I found the SPCA hospital, and they're just wonderful people. Did a great job. Everyone I ran into was just super helpful. and professional and empathetic and everything you would want. Still super hard, but I so appreciated that. And yeah, the poor thing, she was sweet right up to the end there, and yeah, we had something going, and now it's of course all changed. Things are a little simpler for me now, but it's also a lot more lonely, and I miss her a lot already.
Well, I'm very sorry, Melinda.
Yeah, thanks. I wanted to let you know because you've seen her so many times.
Yeah.
So you've gotten to know her
Well, and I
quite
think
a bit as well.
we heard her last month also, didn't we?
That's true. Yes, she was demanding some lap
That's
time, I
right.
think, right then.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was really something. And please don't vote for this in the straw poll unless for some strange reason you think it's a good composition. It's really just a record of
Well, it's definitely one that you're going
that
to
time
keep.
at the very end.
And you were there with her, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I was
good.
there. They were. I mean, they would support any way that I wanted to do it. Other places were strict about their rules and what they would allow people to be present for. But I could be there and help out, and they had a wonderful room they put us in that was very very quiet and comfortable. Plenty of blankets and tissues and everything you'd want. It was
We've been through it several times, and it's really important for her to have you there, I think, at the end, even if she's kind of at the end. That's got to be a comfort.
yeah. It was huge. I mean, for me, I'm sure she probably would have been fine with other loving people around, but I'm sure it was a comfort to know that it was me because she certainly trusted me at that point.
Yeah, well, she was a lucky cat. And a lot of cats know that they're lucky. Well, Melinda, thank you for sharing this with us and for letting us know. Yeah, we've seen stereo photos of Critter for years. And we'll all miss you. We'll all miss her. And I know you'll never forget her.
Yeah, it was fun and frustrating and interesting and wonderful. And she was a strong personality, very willful. I can't blame her for anything.
That's a cat's prerogative. Well, yeah, you've got a void that you're going to have to address also. I hope that doesn't hurt too much.
Yeah, thanks. Well, it doesn't hurt as much as it did
Yeah.
at the time. I mean, I've had a bunch of pets, but I never actually put one down. So hopefully that's the last time too. But yeah, I was very surprised how much that hurt.
Yeah. A lot of us have been there. Sympathize.
But I got her buried, and that was actually surprisingly cathartic. So it definitely gets easier, but I go up and down.
Yeah. Well, don't forget the great life that you gave her too.
Yeah, I'm glad to have done that.
All right, well, thanks for sharing that, Melinda.
Yeah, thank you so much for your condolences and everything.
I'm going to go back. We do have one more to look at, and it's one that we already looked at, but Oleg wasn't here to get our feedback. I'm going to go back to photo number 6. Actually, can I go forward? Let me see. Oh, I can. All right, I'm advancing pretty quickly here, so don't get too dizzy if you're watching. And of course, the YouTube stream will catch up in a few moments. If you're following along on Zoom, it's already here, and the title is Wildflowers at Old Barbed Wire Fence.
Yeah, I took a dirt side road. I wanted to get a shot of Santa Barbara from the mountains, but the road deteriorated, and this is as far as I got. So I shot in the other direction. I like the old fence. It used to be everything straight. Now nothing's straight.
So, Oleg, did you notice that the top line of the barbed wire, like, exactly follows the contour of that ridge behind it?
Right. Yeah, I did that deliberately.
Oh, okay. It's such a weird illusion or something. It was driving me crazy for a while. Didn't occur to me it might be deliberate.
A lot of times when there's a mountain or something like that, I try to find something in the foreground that apes it.
That makes sense. I've done stuff like that.
What time of year did you take this photo? Was this in the past few weeks?
Yes,
Yeah.
about a month ago.
Oh, you've got those great wildflowers. I wonder if they're there now.
No,
Yeah,
it's just all dried up now.
probably a much more dull shot if you were to go there today.
Yeah.
So what does the sign say, or what did it say?
I can't remember. Probably no trespassing or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sign is a nice detail. Well, thank you, Oleg. And I'm glad you made it tonight, Oleg. That actually concludes our slideshow, but we're not done yet. I am going to navigate to our end slide, so things are going to advance pretty quickly here. And I will ask for those who are interested and willing, now's our chance to select our favorite photos from tonight's slideshow using our straw poll. So if you have a computer or a phone or a tablet and would like to participate, the link is on the screen now. There's also a QR code if you want to use your smartphone or tablet's camera to load the poll. I'm going to go through the slideshow again just to remind us of what we saw, and I'll spin just a few seconds on each photo, and I'll announce the name as well. One thing I have to note is that the order of the poll is slightly different than the order of the slideshow because I did move a couple things around. So in the poll, Melinda's critter photo is the first. In the slideshow, it was the last. Although she did ask us not to select that one. So just be aware there is that one discrepancy. I'll go through the slides right now, and then we'll spend 60 or 90 seconds or so to give everyone a chance to make their selections. Starting with the welcome slide, this is Scared Grave Worker by Steve. Pile of Color by Steve. Mirror Lake by Bob. Succulent Flower by Jack. Keyhole Sunset 2 by Melinda. Wildflowers at Old Barbed Wire Fence by Oleg. Waverly Place View, San Francisco by Matt. Scaredy Cat by Bob. Invasion of the Puppets by Steve. Upper Sentinel Skylight by Matt. Holding a Snake by Jay. Remote Island Cactus by Bob. Garden Flower by Jack. Hanger Protrusion Suggests a Window by Oleg. Baby Boa Tongue by Bob. Father Photographs Son at Zoo Lights by Oleg. Captain Jack's Stronghold View by Matt. Tall Structures by Jay. Seagull from Above by Melinda. Tiny Flowers by Jack. Nathan's Fan by Jay. Bay and Taylor Cable Car Stop by Matt. Hanger Provides a Secondary Window by Oleg. Cherry Trees by Melinda. Green Feathers by Jay. And this is Critter by Melinda. She's asked us not to select this. And here is information about accessing the straw poll. Please participate if you can. Understand that this is not a competition, but we do want to know what the most popular photos of the evening was. So let's spend 60, 90 seconds or so, and I'll show the results. In the meantime, is there anything anyone would like to see again, spend more time on? Any further comments while we're making our selections? All right, we'll just give this few more moments. Let's see how we're doing here. All right, does anyone need any more time? All right, let me pull up these results here. I'll stop sharing my screen and okay, and I will share the results. And let's see, I think Bob had already left. I know we're running a little late, but his baby boa was our leading image tonight with 5 votes. And we have a tie, we'll call that for our second popular selection. Thank you for selecting Upper Sentinel Skylight, Holding a Snake, that was my personal favorite, and Seagull from Above. Well done. And Melinda's Keyhole Sunset 2 follows. Thank you, everyone. I think we got a great turnout tonight. I am always overjoyed when we have more than 20 photos for our slideshows, and we exceeded that. That puts a smile on my face. Let's see, our next meeting is next week. That is July the 9th at the same time. And next week is our monthly special topic, which is humor. Some of you have already submitted your special topic photos for next week. If you haven't, you still have time. You can get those to me as late as Sunday evening, and I'll add them. And of course, we would love to see your native stereo photos or your converted stereo photos. With that, I will conclude tonight's meeting. Unless anyone has anything they would like to add, I really appreciate everyone staying 30 minutes late. A lot of photos tonight, a good problem to have. And I drank plenty of coffee, so I can go all night. All right, everyone.
All right.
Thanks for dropping by. I'll see everyone next week. And until then, stay cool, stay safe. See you then.
All right.
Thanks all.